Hey everyone, welcome to the Moviemantz Q&A. I'm your host, Scott Moviemantz. The movie is Shithouse. Yes, that is the name of the film, and it won the Grand Jury Award at the South by Southwest Film Festival and the Florida Film Festival. The movie is about a college student who's feeling really homesick and having a very hard time with his first year at school. Let's take a look at the movie.
I love college so much!
I feel like I'm just like floating.
Ouch.
You're trouble, aren't you?
I'm trouble?
You okay?
Yeah, I'm just not feeling well and it's super frustrating. Am I not allowed to sleep here?
No, you can. Am I like keeping you up?
Oh no, I wasn't sleeping.
Do you want to like go hang out?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to. You're a sophomore, right?
Yeah.
Did you have a tough first year?
What do you mean, like adjusting?
Can I tell you a secret? I have 0 friends. Like you could say my roommate is a friend. Sam, we need to get up.
I didn't do nothing.
Dropped a deuce in our room. But we hate each other and aren't friends.
Joining me right now on the Moviemantz Q&A to talk about the making of this wonderful, terrific movie, which is on demand and in select theaters now, writer, director, producer, editor, actor, maybe craft services, Cooper Raiff. Cooper, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks so much for having me. It's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. And I got to tell you, when I saw this movie, it was not what I expected. I thought it was going to be more of a party kind of movie.
Yeah.
And it was so relatable. I don't care if you're going to college now, you went to college 10 years ago, you went to college in the 80s, like I did. This movie is so relatable across the board, such a vulnerable, heartfelt, deeply moving, and raw and honest, grounded film. Where did this inspiration come from for you to even start writing this?
So my sophomore year of college, I wanted to make a movie over spring break because I didn't have spring break plans. And I somehow convinced my 2 best friends who were not filmmakers or actors to help me make that movie. And I didn't know what I wanted I didn't know what I wanted the movie to be about, but we were on a college campus. So I figured it'd be easiest to make a movie about college. And so like about a month before, I just started writing a movie about college, and it just very quickly ended up being about this character who was going through the pain of leaving home and growing up. And it was a version of my college experience that I think was more my interior life my freshman year, not necessarily my experiences, but a character that was kind of chipping away at what I was feeling and the emotions that I was maybe pushing down or turning off. But yeah, and the other part is it was super duper based on this relationship that I had with this girl named Madeline, who I dated for 3 years. We're not together anymore, but we're still best friends. She's actually in the other room.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, so write what you know. I mean, that's the
Yes.
first rule of writing, especially when you're writing a screenplay. And like I said, the you've really resisted the urge to go for some of these college type movie cliches. Not that I have a problem with those, because those are very fun, but
Yeah.
I was really struck by how intimate this felt. And even after I saw the film, the movie that it kind of reminded me of in a different way, but was relatable in terms of just how real and grounded it was. Did you ever see the movie 8th Grade?
Yes, I did. Yes, in theaters too. Yeah, I love
was
that movie.
Yeah,
Yes.
that movie, these two films could be a great double feature.
Yeah,
So,
I think Bo Burnham is just incredible, and Elsie Fisher is a next level, just so great. She's amazing.
well, for you, how long did it take you to finish the version of the screenplay that you wound up filming with?
So I made that first movie, and then I ended up kind of getting connected with Jay Duplass because I like tweeted him a link to that little movie, and we started talking about developing that movie into Shithouse. And the process was kind of just going back and seeing exactly what that little script that I had written was about, and kind of, I mean, obviously expanding it because the feature was obviously a feature and the movie before that was not. And yeah, like adding a third act, like kind of not, because the first movie was just about one night, and the now it kind of spans two nights, and then it goes in the future a little bit more. But the process was mainly just kind of getting the go ahead from Jay to really dive into the themes that he found relatable, so that kind of gave me the confidence to go ahead and write about them and get, because it's such a specific movie. But hearing that he did relate and also liked watching it, it kind of gave me a pass to write more.
So if you are making an independent movie, and Shithouse is absolutely the ultimate independent movie
Yes.
in terms of what we think of with indies, could you have asked for a better mentor to guide you along the way than Jay Duplass?
Not at all. And I thought I knew what I was getting myself into. Was already so obsessed with him and him as a filmmaker, and also just knew that he was so kind to young filmmakers and indie filmmakers in general. But meeting him, really, he's like the best person ever. He really is just so kind and actually just cares about not me as a filmmaker, but me as a person and what I'm going through and how hard it is to feel confident in what you're doing, and all the imposter syndrome that comes along with making your first movie and getting people to get behind it and getting people to join the party. And he's just a really, really great guy who knows what it's like.
Well, in terms of casting, so you obviously have to have the right chemistry with your Maggie, because that's the movie, the
Yes.
relationship that it very, very real relationship. It's not all peaches and ice cream, you
Right.
know, the morning after. In fact, it gets a lot rougher. So who were you looking for, and what made Dylan Jalula the perfect Maggie?
I had my first lunch with Dylan was not rocky, but it was scary. It was scary. I was very scared of the idea of being in a movie with her and us having to fall in love with each other, because she is intimidatingly smart and intimidatingly funny, and just a yeah, you're on your toes with her. And then it struck me that that's exactly how I felt when I met Madeline, who the movie's based on, and I kind of just realized this is gonna be magic. And it turns out I think I was super duper right, because there's something just so interesting about us sitting on a bed together, not even talking. We just bring such different energies, and I think they just work as such great foils for each other.
You know, talk about that scene where you're sitting on the bed talking. I mean, that kind of goes on for a while. And what was it like to film that particular scene? Did you stick to what was scripted, or did you, sort of go loose and improv?
No, it's such a long scene that really accomplishes very specific things. So I spent so long writing that and making sure that was probably the scene where it was the most exact, and we rehearsed it so many times because I knew that it went on for so long, and I knew that there couldn't be every single second had to be so, even the moments that they're not talking and it's quiet and they're looking at each other, I knew I couldn't I was constantly trying to trim things, but I still needed all of that, and I still really care about things being realistic and letting things play out naturally. But yeah, no, that scene was not improvised at all, and the whole movie really wasn't, because we didn't have enough time or support to just say let's improvise. But I always told the actors I always want them rewriting lines while they're saying them, because I don't want them to say anything that they feel like it's gonna feel false coming out of their mouth.
Well, so much of this movie, all of it really feels so true. The other scene that really struck me is a scene a little later in the film. I mean, spoiler if you haven't seen it yet, but hopefully you did. So you're both outside talking, and you basically spill your guts. Uh, when that scene was finished, I turned to the person that I was with, and I said, "Wow, what was it like filming that scene
Which scene? Which scene are you talking about? The with Maggie or with the mom?
with Maggie?"
Uh
Outside where you're
out,
professing your love and I love
yes.
you, and
Yeah. That was every scene was so vulnerable and so exactly what I wanted, but it was so scary to film. But yeah, that scene was every scene was so fun too. It was just like, it was exactly what I pictured and what I wanted to, like there wasn't a scene that I didn't have so many butterflies and didn't feel so charged. And Dylan's someone who I'm comfortable with, but not that comfortable with. So there's never a, it wasn't hard to feel that, those butterflies, because they were real on and off set.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the scene where you're on the phone with your mother. So when you're doing that scene with Dylan, you're there with Dylan. When you're on the phone, probably
Right.
no one's on the other line, I'm guessing.
Right. Yes.
How did that filming that scene differ? Because that scene was really vulnerable and heartbreaking. And what I love about that scene is, the mother's in the car with your sister, and instead of being like the bratty sister rolling her eyes saying get over it, like she really feels for him.
Yeah.
You avoided a lot of like the sort of cliches that one might expect for a teen comedy.
Yeah, I just have a really close relationship with my sister in that way, and she's just a lovely person who has a lot of empathy for my tears. But yeah, that scene was crazy because I was talking to myself, like on set. I did all those mom phone call scenes because Amy who played my mom was not there on that day, and I think I tried to have like a PA read with me, and I was like, this is not gonna work. So I just had to read, and I knew the lines so well, I knew the script so well, but I was just talking to myself. And I think after when I cut, I think I looked around, everyone was like, are you okay? That because it's crazy to watch someone not only talking to themselves, but really spilling their guts to themselves and getting so emotional. And but it was such an awesome thing to do. Like it was exactly the reason why I wrote it, to feel it and actually communicate the sadness to the mom on the other end of the phone, but also like communicate it to the camera. It was really nice.
You obviously, like I said at the top of this conversation, you're wearing a lot of hats in this movie. So what were the challenges in being a jack of all trades on this film? And B, would you do it again?
The hardest thing, it's harder for everybody else because it requires so much patience from your crew members because they don't want their director to be worried about how they're going to be present in a scene as an actor. So it was hard for me, of course, because like it's just tiring, but and there's not a moment where you can kind of relax. Like the days there were 2 days when I didn't have a scene to film and act in, and like I could wear my hat on set and show up in sweatpants. And those days were so amazing, and I really loved those days. So to answer B, I don't think I don't know if I would. Maybe I would if I had more support, but it's really hard, and there's a reason why those roles are played by different people because it takes a lot of time and a lot of patience amongst everybody.
How big was your crew?
It's like 10 people max, like including cast members and stuff. So it was small, and everyone was running around and very tired all the time.
And how long was principal photography?
17 days, and I think we went back like 6 months after filming, like right before South by Southwest, to get a day. Not 6 months, but we finished filming last September, and then I think in January we did like a day of pickups.
Do you feel like the energy of having a really lean crew shooting in such a short period of time, less than 3 weeks? I mean, you feel like that energy was beneficial?
Yeah, I think that that's I think the reason why people feel like it was improv is because it's like we have to do 2 takes. There might be a cop that shows up and kicks us out of here because we didn't have a lot of permits, and because we didn't have the money to really set ourselves up to have a lot of support. So I think you got to get through this scene, and if you forget your lines, just think of them. So I think that's where some of the raw, like that's where it really did help a lot. Everyone was just very ready to go, and it was great. Yeah, I love that feeling.
So with all the responsibilities that go with making an independent film, your first movie, what were some of the biggest lessons you learned that you know better for the next time?
I learned what pre-production was. I didn't realize what that was before. I thought it was kind of just a time where you're scheduling things, and but really it's the time where you are being, it should be the time where it's just you're so proactive and you're thinking about looking into the future, how I'm going to take care of my teammates and make sure that they're taken care of and rested, and not carrying too much to different locations. Because there were times where everyone was so tired, and I realized if I just changed the schedule up a little bit, they would not have been. So I just learned how to um, uh, make sure everything is at the same, because I really cared about filming it all in order, and
Oh,
I should not have cared that much as I did, because I really wanted it to feel like the characters to feel like they were going on a journey. But um, I should not have done that. Like, there's a reason why you get all of your scenes in this location done, because you don't want to be constantly lugging around all this equipment. So that was my biggest takeaway.
when you assembled your first cut, how long was it?
It was so long. I don't know. I think I've said it in an interview. I don't remember exactly how long, but I am a first time writer who wrote way too much, and was told this might be a little too much, but it wasn't that many pages. But I just, on set, I realized, oh, my pages take a long time to get out, because it's just two people talking, and there are a lot of silences, and there's a lot of thinking and um, contemplating. And so I think it was probably 2 hours and like 40 minutes, really. So we ended up cutting a lot of scenes, and we ended up cutting some characters, which was horrible, because I had to make some phone calls that and cut some amazing scenes, but it just didn't fit. And people would have fallen asleep watching it.
There are so many directors who will say that directing the movie really happens in the editing room.
Yeah.
So whether it comes to having the cut scenes that you wish you could have kept in, how did this movie surprise you in ways that you didn't see when you were writing it and when you were filming it, but you did see it when you were editing it?
Um, I had this thing where, um, like for my character, didn't trust that the way that Alex is very closed off in a way at the beginning, like the way that he is depressed. I would do different. We'd do a couple takes, and I'd always make sure to bring up the energy a little bit. And when I was editing, I think I realized that uh, what I wanted did come through, because like, oh, I guess it was my first time using a good camera and realizing that you do get the little specific moments, and it does like translate that what he's feeling, even though not a lot is going on. So I think that was the biggest thing, is realizing I could just trust that two people just sitting there is interesting to watch.
Mhm.
So that was really nice, and I, going forward, know that the camera does pick up a lot.
So this movie was, well, it did debut at the South by Southwest Film Festival, but not in the way that we all wanted it to debut.
Right.
And I just, I go to South by every year, and but what was that process like for you? 5 days, your debut feature film is ready to go. You're going to Austin, and the pandemic had other plans. And
Right.
then South by wound up being the first of many events, film festivals in particular, that had to be postponed. How was that? How did that hit you? And how did you move forward to make sure that this film gets seen?
Well, so we took a really, not a long time to edit, but we were editing up until 5 days before South by Southwest. So I didn't have a lot of time to envision all of these big scenarios and all these people that I was going to meet at South by Southwest. So when it got canceled, my first thought was like, oh, we could probably tighten up the movie a little bit more. But also, the other thing though is I was obviously crushed, and I had never been to a film festival, so I didn't really know what to expect. So it was kind of like grieving what I didn't even know. I didn't know what to expect. So it was kind of sad that there wasn't going to be any surprise. Like I was looking forward to being surprised by all this like all these fun times. But I got a call an hour after it got canceled from IndieWire saying, "Can we talk to you about how you're feeling?" And I think it was at that point that I realized that the filmmaking community is so kind, and they really wrap their arms around those movies and those filmmakers in a really huge way. And I think South by Southwest was, like you said, the first thing to get really canceled, and it kind of became the poster child for oh, these filmmakers got their dreams dashed. And so people were really supportive and lifted the movies up in a big way. And yeah, so it wasn't that horrible, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah. I've been going to South by. I've been there. This would have been seventh year. I've been to Sundance 20 times. And the indie film community, everyone has each other's backs.
Yes.
I feel like, I mean, look what Jay did for you,
Yeah.
What, by the way, what did he think of the movie, Jay Duplass?
I think he loves it. I think he thinks it had the special quality that the first movie did in a really nice way that I don't know if either of us was expecting, and so that was really nice.
What's it feel like on Rotten Tomatoes? The movie, last time I checked, just a couple hours ago, was at 94%. So this is clearly a movie that is resonating. This is clearly a film that everyone is picking up on, just how real and relatable and how timeless it is, because of just those first year homesick, finding your way feelings. So what does it feel like to have the movie embraced in such a way, and like everyone's getting it?
It feels like everything. It feels shocking in a way, because I didn't think nobody on set really could foresee more than our like families and friends seeing the movie, because that's just the nature of a small movie. And so for it to kind of like break out a little bit is scary and feels extra vulnerable, because I think people are watching it in a lens that we didn't expect people to watch it in. But to have that lens, and then they still like it and they still feel like they get it, is just so rewarding and emotionally fulfilling.
Well, Cooper, thank you so much for joining me on the Moviemantz Q&A. The name of the film, again, is Shithouse. And I'm telling you, I see like 350 movies a year. This is absolutely one of the very best movies of 2020. It is on demand. It is in select theaters. If you have a theater near you that's opening, you can check it out safely. Do so. If not, make sure you watch this movie on demand. And thank you again, Cooper, very, very much. And congratulations.
Thank you so much, Scott. It was really, really nice meeting you.
Thank you. You too.